Greetings, esteemed viewers. Step in the realm of business excellence with us and elevate your business, where we unravel the secrets to success and share the strategies that lead to triumph. I'm your host, Ed Jarecki, and I'm thrilled to have you here today. In this program, our goal is to educate and empower business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs such as yourself by offering valuable insights and guidance from accomplished individuals who have walked a similar path in the world of business. Our guest today follows this tradition as well. So sit back, grab some coffee, relax, and let's give a warm welcome to our incredible guests today, Ryan Twomey and Lucas Ravanis. Ryan and Lucas are partners and co-founders of TR Capital Partners, LLC. Their focus, real estate investment. Their approach, partnering with investors who want the financial benefits of real estate investment without the day-to-day operational burdens. And for one that's been through it, this is a wonderful thing. Their magic, thorough due diligence, well thought out short and long-term planning, and maximizing returns. As Ryan and Lucas join us on the show today, they will shed light on what success means to them personally and how their definition has evolved over time, as well as one or two top challenges and the lessons learned associated with them. And finally, for today, we'll explore how Ryan and Lucas have leveraged innovation in their business to work through challenges and achieve their goals. So join me in welcoming Ryan and Lucas as we embark on another incredible episode of Elevate Your Business. And without further ado, Ryan, Lucas, wonderful to see you two again. Thanks for being on the show today.
Great, good to be here. Thanks for having
Good.
us.
Thanks for having us, Ed. Excited to be here.
My pleasure, my honor. Our first conversation was incredible, what you two have built. I'm excited to share with our audience. And so if you would, could you share a little bit more about yourselves and your business?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. I'll go ahead and start us off, Ryan. So Ryan and I were both from Massachusetts. We have the luxury of knowing each other for pretty much our entire lives, dating back to the Little League days where both of our dads were our coaches, went through high school together. So we know each other pretty well. With a good foundation of friendship, we decided to take the next step into business. And that all started back during COVID, where Ryan and I were looking to become roommates, right? We were jealous of other friends who had apartments, so we were trying to find our own. But then the light bulb clicked and said, why don't we purchase a property and own that? So throughout COVID, we would meet up and learn the ins and outs of real estate. Fast track, we then bought a triplex and we house hacked it. So we lived in one unit and then we rented out the other two. And that was great. We got some active experience. We understood what it's like to be a landlord. And then we continued that strategy and bought a duplex. Well, now we have two properties. We have 5 units, right? Pat on our back. We're doing great. But we realized being a landlord is such a headache, right? You have a lot of responsibilities. So Ryan and I, we fast tracked to where we are today. We now focus with real estate syndications, where we're able to acquire properties and then have people invest their capital to own that property, where Ryan and I and a team of industry experienced specialists, we are the landlords. We are the ones who operate it, while investors in turn get to sit back, relax, and collect passive income and all the other great benefits of real estate ownership.
Outstanding. That is an absolutely incredible story. Ryan, anything to add there?
no, I guess just a bit about myself. So, yeah, as you mentioned, I'm a co-founder alongside Lucas at TR Capital Partners. Before beginning in real estate, I had a background in various different asset classes, from insurance to fixed income to working for the stock exchange. So I've had experience with a lot of different assets, different types of investors, learn about their goals. But like Lucas said, the light bulb really clicked when we began diving into real estate further. And that's definitely become my asset of choice, at least for my primary investing, for a number of reasons. And so Lucas and I, since then, have partnered up on a bunch of deals, have about 456 doors now, or units, as a co-GP between a couple of properties, and a lot more in the pipeline that we're looking to, onboard investors and give them the benefits without the hassle, because we know too well that being a landlord is like a second job. So
Yeah, every time you say that, I start laughing because I got to experience that on a couple of different levels, and it is not fun. So, for today, how do you define success? You've been through a journey. How do you define success today?
yeah, I guess I'll start on this one. So success is pretty simple for me. It's really just the achievement of a set goal. There's obviously many different types of goals, but for me, the main ones that I want to achieve and I try to optimize are health, wealth, my time, my mind, and my relationships. So essentially, I look to maximize all of those things and have short-term milestones that lead to that longer-term vision I have for each. But really, it's just consistent improvement across the board on all those things and looking to optimize those every day throughout my life and getting into that long-term vision.
Lucas?
Yeah, yeah, perfectly said, Ryan. My definition for success is a little bit different, especially when I gear it towards directly with what we do, right? So when we first started in the syndication game, it can be extremely overwhelming. You have industry specialists who have been doing this for a very long time, decades, and they have a ton more resources, experience, capital. So we knew we had to start somewhere. So speaking for Ryan here, we would find success in the little things, right? Oh, a broker that we reached out to sent us an off-market deal, right? That's a success. Hey, somebody reached out to us wanting to work with us, not vice versa. Boom, that's a success, right?
Yeah.
We weren't really putting it in a direct metric. We were really just trying to put together as many little wins as possible to get that first big win. And then that first big win, right, is that first deal, right? That first syndication. So where we started off to where we are now is kind of our strategy of success, right? Put ourselves in a position to get a little bit of win, to put all those wins together, to then get to that ultimate goal of success.
Outstanding. So, has your definition of success evolved over the years? And if so,
I'll,
how?
yeah, I'll keep the ball rolling since I'm hot with it, right? you know, Now what the hard part with what we do is we have to find investors to invest with us, right? It's easy to have the conversation and it's fun to explain to people the process and how it works, but it's harder to have them wire the money. That right there, when they wire their money, that's success. But when you get that deal and you're on to the next deal, with that, you need even more people to invest, right? So if I'm scraping and crawling just to get somebody to invest $25,000, as an investor, I know they're probably not going to partake in that next deal, right? It's too close in the timeline for them. So getting those investors who can really see, A, the benefits of syndications, but also B, and understand who I am, who Ryan is, what TR Capital Partners is, and trust us enough to invest in another deal, multiple syndications. Now that right there, that's success, right? Because when we have these syndications, we know that we make a difference in that investor's life, and we get to show them a new avenue of wealth creation, and we get to establish a great relationship where they now know, like, and trust us to keep it going. So those repeat investors, people who are investing in multiple deals with us, that right there is my new definition of success.
Ryan, anything to add?
I guess since Lucas is kind of talking more on the business side, on the personal side, I think it's definitely changed over time. I think like most people, when you're younger, you're a little more immature, you think of it as external things like material things or status or money, whatever it might be. That's definitely changed for me. Thankfully, I realized how ridiculous that was and how it's never going to be fulfilling. So similar to what Lucas said, is now we kind of want to make an impact. We want to be able to share our knowledge, build those relationships, and then develop that know, like, and trust factor. So when we first started, we realized that coming from a scarcity mindset was not the way to go about it. And there's really enough pie to go around for everybody. We quickly learned in a mastermind we're a part of that it's really more about the relationship building and adding value to other people's lives, and that in turn, adds value to your own life. So I think that's kind of more of our definition of success now for both of us, and it definitely is part of our core values of our business in general too. So
It's incredible as we travel this journey down this path to what we believe is success, that all those little obstacles and weaves and bobs really change our perspective. And so through that journey, what are one or two of the key challenges that you've encountered and the lessons learned that you now have learned to apply?
yeah, I guess so. I think a lot of our initial challenges was mostly marketing our services. So both of us, we've had extensive backgrounds in real estate. We've had success implementing a value add plans, whether it's the small properties or the big properties, and, achieving these exponential returns for investors. But I don't think either of us had a background in marketing or, at least outreach. So we essentially started going to like network events early on, doing a lot of social media, other types of content, getting referrals from people who invested with our firm, etc. But at first, I think our main tactic was, just take action, teach ourselves along the way what works, and then just do more of that. So that's kind of where we're at now with everything we do, we're kind of learning, we learned along the way and we implement the most effective thing that can optimize our outputs as far as our business goes.
Anything to add, Lucas?
Yeah, I would say that the biggest challenge that I've come across is getting people to trust me. And that's not because I'm an untrustworthy person, right? Because I can assure you that I'm very trustworthy, but because I'm someone who they probably don't know or personally don't know very well. And I'm asking them to invest their money, their hard-earned capital, into a real estate deal, right? And that's good for me because I want to work with people who are cautious of their money and be cautious of who they work with, right? If they didn't have any barriers to put up, then that would be worrisome for me. But if I flip the switch and I put myself in their shoes, I would be asking the exact same questions. Who is this guy who's reaching out? Invest my money into what, right? Why would I do that? And then when they realize I'm only 28 years old, I haven't been doing this for 4 decades, I don't have a PhD, it adds to the mystery of who I am and what I'm trying to do. So I always say that you only want to invest in a syndication with somebody that you know, like, and trust. And it's in that order, right? You have to know someone to like them. And it takes time to establish that trust part. So with me personally, I welcome that opposition when we first talk. I like to hear them question everything that I say, because that means to some certain level, they care. They already care a little, and it's up to me to work with them to get even further. So before anybody invests with us, you can guarantee a handful of conversations have taken place before you're even on that deal. It's not as black and white as, hey, nice to meet you, here's $100,000.
Rarely.
It's that's the fun part, right? Is to take their questions to their needs, show them where their pain points are and how we can help, but establish that trust. So that's the opposition, is putting ourselves in an uncomfortable position with people who don't know who we are, teach them some really good opportunities to help grow their wealth, and then hopefully we can both capitalize on that opportunity.
I absolutely love it. Trust and credibility. I think that is a foundation for just about any business success today. And there's a lot of feedback out there that really encourages that. Even when I decided to get into this business, didn't really matter what I did before. It was establishing the trust and credibility with relative to what I'm trying to offer today. And it's the same advice that any good course, any good experienced entrepreneur business owner is going to share as well. So outstanding. And so when we carry that to the next step, which is the conversation around innovation, how has innovation played a role in the development of your business, and where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah, I would say the technology and the innovations in our space specifically has been pretty dramatic. The biggest upside for us is utilizing social media and different online platforms to help build our network. So we've all heard the saying, your network is your net worth. And we wouldn't be in the syndication game at all if it wasn't for social media. We were able to meet experienced operators from all over the world and get a chance to bounce ideas and teach and learn and help each other from all over the place. But it's not only just the people who are actively in the business, it's also people who are potential investors, right? They can be reached online.
Right.
There's a countless amount of strategies that we can utilize to meet people. But where technology is right now, it's at an all-time high with ease when it comes to expanding your network.
Outstanding. Do you use any specific platforms for that?
Yeah, so we have a CRM platform, and that's been an absolute game changer for us. So especially with syndications, if you don't know, well, now you do know, they're heavily regulated by the SEC. So with our CRM platform that we use, it allows us to document everything, right? And make sure that all of our conversations that are specific to information pertaining to deals or for, investor specific stuff, it's all documented. So we're inevitably able to stay within that SEC regulation and compliance, and it helps organize everything for us, right? If we didn't have that CRM, we'd be, either in like a Microsoft Word document or the old-fashioned pen and paper. And we all know what can happen with that, right? That just kind of screams disaster. And then, God forbid, when the SEC wants to dive into your deal a little bit and ask you some very specific questions and you have to prove it, well, then I'd be scrambling around trying to find all that information. So with our CRM, it really makes our life a lot easier, just putting everything in one platform and just sorting it out to make just the touch points and everything that we're able to cover just right there on one platform for us.
Now, do you integrate that with LinkedIn or any other social media or business platform?
Yeah, absolutely. We integrate it, through email, through LinkedIn, through phone calls, through text, right? Everything can be pinpointed through that. So it's really good. The use of AI has been incredibly useful for us to pull information from our conversations, from online platforms, and just put it right into the system. And then, we can automate things to be set up and sent out to different investors or potential partners that we're working with. So the entire thing is just a beautiful, beautiful platform to have.
Where do you see innovation taking your business into the future?
So I think a lot of it comes down to making the investor experience as seamless as possible. So, like Lucas said, a lot of these investors either they don't know how to manage real estate on their own. They're either first-time investors, even if they're experienced. The whole point of all this technology is to make it as easy as possible to invest and pretty much pass off that role to us. So they want to stay passive in the investment. They want to get real-time reports. They want to be able to make it everything as seamless as possible. So another thing we utilize is an investor portal. So the technology behind that enables us to, show real-time metrics and financial statements and project updates, reporting tools, and really streamline the investor process from the beginning all the way to the end when we sell the property. And typically these properties we hold from anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7 years. So utilizing that throughout the hold and just making everything, efficient for the investor, keeping them updated with, because it is their money in the deal alongside ours. Like we want to make sure that they're being communicated with transparently and as quickly as possible, so they know exactly where we're at in the stage. They know exactly how much they're earning and when to inspect distributions and etc. So that's another thing I think that's going to be utilized quite a bit now and obviously in the future too.
Yeah, I can imagine a dashboard, go in, real-time updates, any specific questions, but the dashboard itself answers a lion's share of the questions that investor may have. And then any of the detailed questions, of course, they have the comfort to reach out and ask those questions. You can then take those questions and the responses, turn them into a fact sheet and enable that through the system. Absolutely incredible where the technology has come and where it's going. What about from a management and maintenance perspective on all of these properties? Is there anywhere where you're seeing innovation and technology to aid in that? I know on the construction side, there's a lot of composite manufacturing going on. There's a bunch of it out on the East Coast. There's a couple of businesses in Minnesota that focus on composite modules that are already prefabbed and can be much more easily assembled. Is there anything like that happening when it comes to established and, because I'm maintenance upgrades and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we actually work with a handful of operators, but depending on where we're acquiring a property, that's going to determine what type of property management that we're going to want for that, because it's going to be a different demographic in Texas compared to Minneapolis, right? Compared to Massachusetts. What a lot of property managements have been doing is they've been able to implement AI into kind of like an Alexa, right? Or a Siri, where you're able to, reach out as a tenant. You can text or call Siri, right? Like, and that is all automated, all online, right? Where the PM, they're able to, lower their expenses because they don't need as many employees at a site because they have this 24/7 Alexa, right? Well, that technique and that process, that's going to work very well in some sections of the United States, and it's going to not work anywhere close to a different section. It's all dependent on that demographic,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
So we have to make sure that the type of people who are going to be investing or living in those properties that we acquire are the type of people who would be willing to do that, right? So there's a lot of demographic and market information that we would go through and look through to make sure it makes sense to implement that before we just put it in there, tell the tenants, you know what, this is what it is, and it turns into an absolute disaster. We want to make the tenants love living there so they continue to lease out the units, right? If we're going to make their life a headache and, when they need things to be done, it's not being done because of they are not used to the technology, well, we're just putting ourselves in a tough situation. So there's some really good opportunity to implement AI through a property management company to make sure that all the tenants are happy and as they would like to. but it's not always going to work. So it's up to us on the general partner team, the operators, to ensure we're implementing that in the correct location.
I kind of liken that to what's happening in a lot of the retail stores out there where they've removed a lot of the manual service lines and moved to self-checkout lines.
Mm-hmm.
And there really is a battle, right? Because, I'm one that I use this one sometimes, I use this one sometimes. Some people have to have somebody handling their stuff, and other people don't want anything to do with that. So it seems kind of like this is going to be an evolutionary change.
Yeah, and then like going to that grocery store example, right? Well, with a grocery store, you're able to, still have a few, regular checkout lines, right? There still is a cashier and a bagger, but they still also have that self-service checkout option. You don't really have that option when it comes to property management, right? It's either you're all in with the AI and every single unit there gets it, or that's not it, right? And we actually have on-site maintenance and on-call and people there on that PM team to take care of any issues. So that's why it's really important for us to vet it out, right? Maybe we'll do like a trial run, see how they like it, take their feedback, or we can take information from a similar property down the road if they're doing it and that's fine with their tenants. Well, maybe we can do it here too. But it's all very personal. We have to make sure that it makes sense for that demographic to put that in there.
So, considering our audience of business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, what would be one or two key takeaways you would offer them from your lessons learned that they should consider?
Yeah, for me, I think it goes back to some of the challenges we talked about. So really just to focus on your inputs and your outputs, essentially just meaning like the results you achieve are directly proportionate to the effort and the resources that you put in on the input side. Now, at first, you're probably not going to know what those right inputs are that are most effective, but that's what the taking action side comes into. And you want to, figure out what works best, then optimize that, and then keep doing that to get the better outputs. From there, you can focus on leverage, whether that's relationships, technology, capital, whatever it really is, and then actually start to scale your business that way. But overall, just make sure you're tracking your inputs to see which are most effective and just do more of that. That's kind of what's worked for us so far.
Lucas?
Yeah, beautifully said, Ryan. And I would add on to that is, invest in yourself. Find a mentor. Don't think as an entrepreneur if you're paying somebody or something to help you get where you are right now to where you want to be as an expense. Don't think of it as an expense. Think of it as an investment into yourself. Right? There have been hundreds and thousands of successful people who have probably done what you're trying to do, most likely. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Having an expert, somebody who's done this and knows what you're doing, show you the way or help put yourself in a position to help you succeed is incredibly valuable. There's a lot of education out there, going to school. Sure, you can think of it as I have as a bill, but you also think of it as I'm putting myself in a position to succeed. So same thing with entrepreneurs, right? If you're looking to put yourself in a place there's a gap and you can't see how to get through it, don't hesitate to reach out for help. There's so many resources out there and take advantage of it so you can then put yourself in that place to get from where you are now to where you need to be.
I think that is incredibly well said. Any final thoughts or notes for our audience?
No, other than I guess you can just check out our website, which is trcapitalpartner.com. You'll find a ton of educational material there, including an in-depth webinar that we just published all about multifamily syndication opportunities and the investor experience as a whole. Also, you'll be able to find our calendar to set up a call with our team if you'd like. And then also just social media, primarily on LinkedIn, Lucas Ravanis and Ryan Twomey, where we post a lot of other educational stuff for investors and then any updates on projects for future opportunities as well every week. So
Outstanding. Anything else, Lucas?
Yeah, I just like to add if you ever have any questions about anything to do with real estate or what an investor experience is like, I love the education side, right? That's primarily what we do with our onboarding calls with investors is we explain to them what it is. So that's something that we do every single day, and I'm more than happy to have another conversation with anybody who may be interested in pursuing this avenue. So like Ryan said, don't hesitate to reach out at Lucas Ravanis on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then obviously our website at trcapitalpartner.com. There's no S in partners, just partner.com. And then you can find calendar links, emails, all that jazz. And we can always schedule a call that fits your schedule best.
Outstanding. Ryan, Lucas, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us today. And once again, a special thank you to our guests, Ryan and Lucas, for sharing their insights, experiences, and best success tactics with us. We hope this conversation has left you inspired and motivated to embrace the challenges of entrepreneurship with resilience, innovation, and adaptability. Remember, success comes in many forms, and it's essential to define it for yourself. Take the lessons shared by Ryan and Lucas to heart as you navigate your own entrepreneurial journey. Embrace change, seek out opportunities for growth, and always be willing to adapt to the ever-evolving landscape of business. Thank you all for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time as we continue exploring the stories behind incredible entrepreneurs. Stay resilient, stay innovative, everyone.